Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 149th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Today, we are back with an Everything I Watch October edition, so lots of spooky stuff. I'll have my top 5 as usual, so guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for a guy I appreciate it a lot. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader is linked below, and let's get into Everything I Watched in October. All the President's Men, 1976, directed by Alan J. Pakula. Well, when I watched this, Robert Redford had recently passed. It was probably like a week or so, 2 weeks, something like that. So I was going through some of his old movies, and this is a good film. Dustin Hoffman, Robert Redford are journalists uncovering the Watergate scandal. And this is a classic film, lots of acclaim, but I still prefer 1999's Dick. That's a fun one. But this is a great movie. If you're into investigative journalism movies, I would check this out. I'm going to give All the President's Men an 8.2 out of 10. First top 5 of the month, The Killer, 1989, directed by John Woo. Oh boy, John Woo back in the day, he was the man. This is a great film. I'd say it's his best film, only behind Hard Boiled. This movie follows a hitman who is kind of going through some things of his own and has his own issues and whatnot. And this is just a freaking 2-hour bang 'em up action, shoot 'em up, fun time ride. Chow Yun-fat giving a great performance. I love this movie. Would highly suggest to action fans. I'm going to give The Killer a 9.3 out of 10. Next, top 5 of the month. 10 Cloverfield Lane, 2016, directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Okay, this film here, what an intense, thrillery, kind of horror-y ride. It takes a weird turn at the end. I mean, this movie does live in the Cloverfield tree, so it does have that going for it. But this film is quite different from the Cloverfield movie. I actually love this film. It's about a girl who's being held captive by a man, and she really doesn't know if the things that he's telling her are true or not. And I'm kind of just going to leave it at that. I would highly suggest this one if you haven't seen it. I'm going to give 10 Cloverfield Lane a 9.1 out of 10. First Wives Club, 1996, directed by Hugh Wilson. Fun 90s little rom-com chick flick. You got Goldie Hawn, Diane Keaton, rest in peace, who just died, and Bette Midler. Absolutely great cast. These women were great. This is a fun time movie, man, about these women who were the first wives of these people, and now all their ex-husbands have moved on to younger, whatever the situation may be. But these ladies form a cool little friendship and club, and it's just a fun time movie about these girls getting over their exes. I'm going to give First Wives Club a 7.3 out of 10. The Fog, 1980, directed by John Carpenter. Oh man, this is a weird one, a spooky one. The Fog is, it's a John Carpenter's 80s horror movie. It's a fun time. It's about this woman who works at a radio tower, and fog is rolling into her little town, and all this weird stuff is happening. You got a young Jamie Lee Curtis here, and they just got to figure out, how to beat this stuff. Nothing crazy, nothing you haven't seen before, but definitely an influential one. I'll take this over the remake. I'm going to give The Fog a 7.3 out of 10. A Serious Man, 2009, directed by the Coens. Oh man, this is a good Jewish film. A Serious Man is a film about a man who's going through a whole lot of things in his life. He's going through a divorce. He's got stuff going on at his job where he's a teacher. and everyone just keeps walking all over this guy and taking advantage of him. And this movie is really about a man finding peace with his life, and it's a frustrating movie. It really challenges you as a watcher. I specifically think if you're a man, it really challenges you too, because this deals with a lot of inner demons that men have. And I think this was actually a brilliant film in what it showed. I know I had seen this when it came out, but I didn't remember it, but definitely a good watch. I'm going to give A Serious Man an 8.3 out of 10. Army of Darkness, 1992, directed by Sam Raimi. All right, guys, unpopular opinion coming. I did not like this movie. Um, I like Evil Dead, the original. I'm not the biggest Dead 2 fan. It's okay. And this, it just didn't work for me. The whole setting has changed. We're like warriors now, and Ash is just, I don't know, it's just getting goofier and weirder. I will say some good practical effects, some good fun there, but I don't know, man. This just didn't work for me. I'm gonna give Army of Darkness a 6 out of 10. The Gate, 1987, directed by Tibor Tax. Now, this was a fun little 80s horror movie I had never seen. I was suggested this film, and this was a fun time. It's about a kid whose parents go away for the weekend. Him and his sister have parties and all this, but they pretty much open up a portal to another dimension, and they kind of have to fight these things coming through said portal. And I know it sounds like it's a run of the mill cheesy 80s horror movie, which it is kind of, but my god, the practical effects here and the tension building is great, and the child actors were fantastic. I had a fun time with The Gate. I would definitely watch it next spooky season. I'm going to give The Gate a 7.2 out of 10. Bullet in the Head, 1990, directed by John Woo. This was kind of close to making the top 5. Now, Bullet in the Head is a great film. And then about 30 minutes in, I realized I was watching The Deer Hunter, just a retelling of The Deer Hunter, which is one of my favorite movies. Now, I will say this film did a good job of John Woo did a good job making his own Deer Hunter. He clearly is a big fan of that movie, and for great reasons. This film definitely has some tense moments like The Deer Hunter, but I can't say it quite makes the same punch. But I did have a great time with this movie, and it is definitely one of John Woo's best. I'm going to give Bullet in the Head an 8.6 out of 10. Yes Man, 2008, directed by Peyton Reed. Actually, this was very close to making the top 5 as well. I loved Yes Man. Now, I had seen this when it came out, but that was back in '08. And so it's been a long time. I needed to watch it again. And I had a great time with this movie. I laughed really hard. Jim Carrey was great. And I do love the concept of just saying yes. Now, obviously, we know if we apply this theory to real life, your life would fall to hell really quickly. But in the setting of a movie, it works well. And I think you can apply some things that this movie puts out there to your own life if you're in certain situations. Apply some of it, not all. I'm going to give Yes Man an 8.5 out of 10. Next top 5 of the month, Hustlers, 2019, directed by Lauren Scarfara. Or Scafara, sorry. Well, this movie kind of hit me out of nowhere. Obviously, I had known about this movie when it came out, and it's just one I never got to see. It came out, and then COVID hit, and all kinds of stuff. So, just never got to see it. And man, I really wish I would have seen it sooner. I absolutely loved this movie. It was a fun time. The characters are really good and likable, and it's pretty cool. It's based on a true story. I thought this movie was great, and I thought it actually showed a very accurate depiction of how these underground rich guy things can go and how a lot of this stuff does happen more than you think. Hustlers is a great time. Shout outs to Jennifer Lopez. Shout outs to Constance Wu, Kiki Palmer. The whole cast was great. I'm going to give Hustlers a 9.4 out of 10. Next, top 5 of the month. The Omen, 1976, directed by Richard Donner. Richard Donner, one of the best and most diverse directors. R.I.P. God, what a run he had from this movie all the way up until like Lethal Weapon 4. The Omen, one of the scariest effing movies ever. This movie is about a man who is a couple, recent parents, and their child is possessed. And possessed by you know who. And boy, oh boy, that kid is terrifying. This movie is scary. It's tense. It's a fun ride. Very shocking themes in it. Or not themes, sorry, things in it. Especially for the 70s. I was shocked at some of the stuff I saw. Now, I had seen this movie way, way, way back when I was a kid, but I needed to brush up on it. And man, I'm glad I did. Much better than that remake they did in 2006. I'm going to give The Omen a 9.2 out of 10. Terror Train, 1980, directed by Roger Spootiswoode. Okay, this movie was another one I got suggested to me, and I thought it was going to suck. And let me tell you, I was wrong. I had a great time with this movie. It has tons of flaws, but it's a fun time. This movie's about a bunch of college kids having why it's a New Year's costume party, I'm not sure, but it's a New Year's Eve costume party on a train. And one of the coolest aspects of this movie is each train car is like its own brand new party. And I think that's really fun. Now, we've seen movies do this after this, and maybe even better. Like Bullet Train is an example of a good movie that kind of does this. But this movie's 80s vibe, practical effects, it's just fun where you got this killer who keeps changing costumes and changing who they are to get revenge on some old friends, all in this cool train party. Gotta check it out. It's not a perfect movie, but I did enjoy it. I'm going to give Terror Train an 8.2 out of 10. Alice, Sweet Alice, 1976, directed by Alfred Soul. I was watching some different horror movies this year, guys. Alice Sweet Alice actually stars an actor from a movie I recently fell in love with called Liquid Sky. This movie's about a young girl who may or may not be running around committing murders, and the whole movie is a mystery of trying to figure out whether this girl is doing this stuff or not. This movie is creepy. It's got this girl wearing this mask, and there's a lot of mystery, and you think you know what's going on, and then you don't. I had a good time with this. It's a pretty fun little 70s horror movie. Definitely worth watching. I'm going to give Alice, Sweet Alice, a 7.5 out of 10. A Better Tomorrow, 1986, directed by John Woo. Another great John Woo movie. This was a fun one of his early ones. This movie's about some criminals who they're high up, they're doing their thing, and of course things fall apart, and one of them goes to jail, one of them gets injured. They all go their separate ways, but of course things pull them back to the life, and of course the main guy, his brother, happens to be a cop who wants to arrest him. Fun time, great action movie. I had a great time with it. You can never go wrong with a good John Woo movie. And if Chow Yun Fat's in it, or if Tony Lang's in it, it's going to be good. So I'm going to give A Better Tomorrow an 8.4 out of 10. Pet Sematary, 1989, directed by Mary Lambert. And this movie is way scarier than I remember it being. Another one I hadn't seen since I was a kid. Man, this movie was creepy. Obviously, it's about a family who moves to a house where there's a pet cemetery that has powers. If you bury something there, it will come back to life. But it won't come back to life the way you think it is. And I mean, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to leave it at that. But this movie was creepy. It was weird in the best ways. I thought it was great. And the worst dad of the year award for sure. But had a great time with this. Definitely was suggested. A good Stephen King adaptation. I'm going to give Pet Cemetery a 7.8 out of 10. Gypsy 83, 2001, directed by Todd Stevens. Ooh, a fun little goth kid movie about two friends who take a road trip from Ohio to New York City to fulfill their punk rock dreams. And I love this movie. Very close to making the top 5. This was a fun ride. You got this girl, pretty girl, a little heavier, but very pretty. And I love her vibe, her style, everything. And you got this gay kid who I adored. This kid was awesome. His style was there. He gave me a Robert Smith vibe. I love the vibe of this movie. The outfits, the music, all that stuff is right up my alley. If you like goth, fun road trip movies, this is up your alley. Reminded me of a G-rated Doom generation. I'm going to give Gypsy 83 an 8.4 out of 10. The Devils, 1971, directed by Ken Russell. Now, this movie wasn't quite a horror movie like I thought it was, and it was a weird one. But by the end, I was very pleased at the message that was delivered to me. The Devils is not a movie I can suggest to you. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's a religious movie that challenges religion, very, very much so, and there's a lot of strong themes in here as far as desires and lust and faith and love and loyalty, and there's a lot of themes in this movie, and it really all culminates in the very last scene. And I did think it was brilliant in a way, but I couldn't suggest it to everyone. It's a cinephile one. I'm going to give The Devils, it's a weird one, I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10. The Perfect Neighbor, 2025, directed by Chita Gambier. Okay, anyone who's seen this, which I know a lot of people have, yes, it is very infuriating. Oh man, I had a lot to say about this. Discussed it with some people I know in my personal life, and man, it's a conversation starter, I'll tell you that. This is a documentary, all shot from police body cams, about a woman who murders her neighbor. And I'm just going to leave it at that because there are tons of other factors in this that make it more than just someone killing their neighbor. This thing is infuriating. If you're someone who has a heart, if you're someone who really cares about kids, I don't know if you'll be able to watch this whole thing without punching your TV, but nonetheless, I thought it was a brilliant style and how they use solely the body cam footage to tell the story. I think this director, these editors did a brilliant job here. I'm going to give The Perfect Neighbor an 8.7 out of 10. Toxic Avenger, 1984, directed by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz. All right, this movie, I wanted to watch the new remake, and I had never seen this. And boy, this is the weirdest this movie was gross. It was weird. It's about this guy who essentially gets thrown into a vat of toxic waste, and it turns him into a freakishly strong, freaky looking guy thing. And he's kind of just going around fighting crimes and avenging. And he gets this blind girlfriend who's like the best character. And I don't know, man. This was the weirdest effing. It's gross. It's got a lot of gory. It's violent as hell. Like, this is not for everyone. I can't suggest it to you. I'm gonna give Toxic Avenger 1984 a 5.2 out of 10. Caught Stealing 2025, directed by Darren Aronofsky. You know, I've been missing my man Aronofsky. I mean, we got The Whale not too long ago, but you know, I wanted just nice, simple Aronofsky movie, and that's what he gave us here. A nice, simple, fun movie where we didn't have to think too hard, not all psychological. This was just a fun movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. Austin Butler giving a great performance, and Aronofsky giving some great direction. I'm going to give Caught Stealing an 8.3 out of 10. John Carpenter's Vampires, 1998, directed by John Carpenter. I'm just gonna be real. I hated this movie. I love vampire movies and I love John Carpenter, but buddy, this was not it. I'm not a James Wood fan like that, so that didn't help. This was just not it. The story was whack. You know, the vampirism, like the main vampire, he was cool, but all the other ones just kind of sucked. I didn't really like the way they hunted him. It just, I don't know. This one fell flat for me. I would not suggest this. I'm going to give John Carpenter's Vampires a 5 out of 10. Dracula, A Love Tale, 2025, directed by Luc Besson. Probably the biggest shocker of the month for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Shout out to what's his name? Caleb whatever. I'm sorry, not whatever. I'm sorry. Just do not have your last name with me right now. But Caleb, you did a great job as Dracula. And I like this take on Dracula. Is it Bram Stokery from, Francis Ford? Sure. But Luke puts enough of his own twist on it, and I really like the way this movie ended. I gotta say, I would suggest this to you. If you're into Dracula as a story, you know, I wouldn't say it's the best vampire movie if you're into vampire stuff, but if you're into Dracula, I would definitely watch this. I'm going to give Dracula, A Love Tale an 8.1 out of 10. Freakier Friday 2025, directed by Nisha Ganatra. Sorry. Man, I've been waiting to watch this movie for a minute, and it was so worth the wait. I love this movie. I had a great time with it, man. If you like the first one, I do think you will like this one, of course. Just like any soft reboot or, legacy sequel, it touches on all the things and how times have changed and all that stuff. But this movie does it seamlessly. We get a bunch of the old characters back, and everyone looks good. Everyone looks great. Honestly, the one who looks the worst is Lindsay Lohan. But I had a great time with this. Shout outs to Julia Butters. She is a star in the making. Jamie Lee Curtis, great as always. Been watching her all freaking month. So I'm going to give Freakier Friday a 7.8 out of 10. Next and last, top 5 of the month. Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person, 2024, directed by Ariane Louise Sage. I might have screwed your name up, I'm sorry. Okay, this film here, this is my kind of vampire movie. I watched plenty of vampire movies this month, and this was by far my favorite one. This film was about a young vampire girl who obviously needs to feed to live, but has zero violent tendencies and doesn't want to hurt anyone. And so she is struggling to find someone that she can, so she can drink them. And this movie is a great film about finding your soulmate. And I guess I can't say it at a young age because the girl is not young by the time things start popping off. But I'm going to say it's a French vampire movie. Absolutely incredible. Loved it. Couldn't suggest it more. I'm going to give Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person a 9.3 out of 10. Sorry Baby, 2025, directed by Ava Victor. Ava Victor wrote this, she directed it, she starred in it, and she killed it. This is a great film about dealing with trauma and how trauma can affect your everyday life for an unforeseeable amount of time. Um, Sorry Baby is one of those movies where you're enjoying it while you're watching it, but once it ends, it really hits you and what it's truly about. And I had a very good time with this movie, and I'm very excited to see what comes next from Ava Victor. This is a great directorial debut. I'm going to give Sorry Baby an 8.2 out of 10. Last and absolutely not least, a fun time. Dark Shadows, 2012, directed by Tim Burton. Probably the most underrated movie on this list, in my personal opinion. Like I said, I watched tons of vampire movies this month, and this was probably my second favorite. I loved Dark Shadows. Hadn't seen it since it came out. Needed to brush up. I mean, you got beautiful women all throughout. Funny Johnny Depp. It's just a vibe, a great Halloween fun time movie to put on and just kick back with. Some fun action, some goofy moments, great characters, costuming, great score by Danny Elfman, the whole nine. So you can't go wrong with this movie. And if you didn't like this movie when you saw it, I would challenge you to watch it again and see if you feel the same. I'm going to give Dark Shadows an 8 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching my Everything I Watched in October. Let me know what you watched for this month. Drop the spooky ones, please. If there's a film or topic you'd like me to review, let me know. We're getting close to award season and stuff, so we'll be covering that and some new movies soon. Do me a favor, like the video and subscribe for a guy. Help me get closer to my goal. I appreciate you. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader. I'll link that below. I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below for more movie content. I will be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.